how do I play bigger in business? I learn things. I challenge myself to learn something new every day, every week, every month. If I'm not learning, I'm not growing. If I'm not growing, I'm dying. So the market is abundant. I want to learn everything. I want to absorb all the things that the world has to offer. And I feel like you should too, because it's free. Learning is free. You can learn from people, podcasts, YouTube for free, people.
Welcome to the Raquel Show. This show is for entrepreneurs who want to play bigger in business and in life. And in a world where communication, storytelling are so important to your brand, I'm excited to have our guest today who absolutely specializes in it. And she's handled some of the largest companies when it comes to communication, like Google, to name a few, Netflix, and she's been instrumental to Gary Vee's communication as she was their publicist or PR for 8 years. And who wouldn't want to learn from someone who's used communication storytelling to strengthen brands and has helped some of the biggest names out there. She's also the author of 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. And today we're going to talk all things about her book and why it's important, storytelling, communication, and branding. So I want to welcome to the show, Maha Abouelenein.
Thank you, Raquel. First of all, you nailed my last name, which is the hardest part of these conversations usually, and you did a great job. I am delighted to be here. I love the premise of the show, and I've been listening to some of the episodes, and I'm just getting so much brain candy from it. So congratulations to you, and for the audience that's listening, let's bring you some value and some nuggets.
Yeah. So obviously, communication is such a big thing. And I always tell my kids if there was one skill that I wish I would have learned a lot sooner was how to communicate and be an effective communicator. I mean, it's a skill that I think we use, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking to people, and English is my third language. I always get uncomfortable when it comes to communication. But why do you believe that communication is such a critical skill for the real estate industry in today's market?
Yeah, I think it's critical. I mean, communications is one of the things that will never, ever go out of style with the advent of AI and social media. Like being able to connect with your audience, tell a story, communicate with your manager, acquire a customer, sell an idea, convince somebody, influence somebody, you're going to need to know how to communicate. And I feel like it's one of the most important skills, but it's one that you need to practice and you need to master and you need to be good at it. And I'd love to show you how.
How do you do it? Tell us all.
There's multiple ways. First, foremost, one of the biggest things that I love to help audiences understand is the importance of building your personal brand. So, I'm not talking about making you a social media influencer. I'm talking about your reputation. Your personal brand is your reputation. And don't you want to build and protect your reputation? The answer is 100% yes, right? So, how do you show up in the world? What do you want people to know about you? If you're an entrepreneur, you need to have a good reputation. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to acquire the talent. People don't want to work for you. You're going to need to get good partners, good suppliers, good business people to attract to your business. So you have to have a strong, powerful relationship. If you work in a company, you want to get a promotion. You want your boss to give you the project that's going to make you a rock star. You need to know how you show up at work. What's your personal brand about? I'm a collaborator. I'm a team player. I'm a go-getter. I'm resourceful. I'm energetic. I'm empathetic. I'm a team builder and a planner. So thinking about how is it that you want to show up in the world is something you should control and manage. And if you don't do it, you can better believe someone's going to do it for you. So you need to be intentional about it and think about, okay, Maha's talking about my personal brand. What is my personal brand? I don't have one. I'm not a company. I don't need one. That's my point. You do need to think about that. And you need to think about, because we talked about communications and the internet, you do need to be putting your best foot forward because other people are, and you don't want to be left behind.
Yeah, sometimes people, when it comes to like their brand, they think colors, they think logos, but it's beyond that. And so if somebody was starting over to not necessarily starting over, but really want to hone in on their brands, what would be 3 things that they should do or think about doing when it comes to building their brand?
Great question. First of all, think about how do you like to communicate? Do you like to do face-to-face meetings? Do you like to talk one-to-many? Do you want to speak at events? Do you want to be engaged in your community? Do you feel more comfortable online by writing a blog, by shooting videos? You don't want to be on video, so you want to do a podcast because you like talking and having conversations. You need to figure out what's your speed. What is the thing that you can be most comfortable doing consistently? That's the first thing. How are you going to communicate? Second thing is, what are you going to communicate? What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you think is your unique talent or skill or something you want to be known for? Start thinking about developing your narrative. What are the things that I can focus on? I'm going to talk about photography. I'm going to talk about yoga. I'm going to talk about how to save money. I'm going to talk about qualities you should look for when buying a home. I'm going to look at my style is how to build relationships within your neighborhood and how to be really good about building those relationships because that's what you want to do for your business. So the first thing is, what do you want to do? How do you want to communicate it? Second is, what do you want to talk about? And then the third thing is understanding who your audience is, right? So are you trying to talk to the real estate community? Are you trying to talk to the financial community? Are you trying to talk to entrepreneurs? Are you trying to talk to established business leaders? Who is it that you're trying to talk to? And what does that audience care about? So you can meet them where they are.
I love how fast, rapid, and speed. Like, first is the tool. How are you going to communicate? Second is, what are you going to communicate about? And then third was like, are you going to be that person that's going to communicate to agents? Who's your audience? And I think that's where people don't really think. They're just like, I'm going to throw this story out. I'm going to throw a quote out. I'm going to throw, oh, I should get on TikTok. I should go on this. But I do think that there's some type of organized plan when it comes to building a brand. So where do you think people actually make mistakes what that you've seen since you've been doing this for a long time with,
Yeah.
and can you shift brands, I think, as you evolve?
Yeah, I think so. It's those questions. How am I going to do it? What am I going to say? And who am I going to talk to? Those are the three questions you need to answer if you want to build your personal brand. And I think the biggest mistake that people get stuck on is the how. Like they know what they want to talk about. They want to talk about real estate. They want to talk about connecting with consumers. They know what they want to do and they know who they want to talk about it. They just don't know what. So they get stuck on overthinking the process. Oh, I'm not Gary Vee. I don't have 30 people that can help me write, edit videos and shoot content and create content. You don't need that. Like we tend to overthink it because we're afraid what people will think. We don't want to be judged by others. Oh, well, who does she think she is posting quotes all of a sudden? Is she like an inspirational person now? No, it's called thought leadership. And everybody has thoughts and they should lead with those thoughts. So I think that's the biggest mistake. People just get stuck. And what I do is I encourage you to just start. The only way to find out what you should be talking about or who you should be talking about or how you should talk to them is simple. Ask them. Put up a post on social media. What would you like to learn about the real estate market? What would you like to learn about the real estate industry? Would you like to learn about trends? Would you guys like me to be pulling together insight? Like the easiest way to know what your audience wants is to ask them. And it's such a simple, overlooked thing. The internet is an abundance of information, especially for insights and research. Put out the question, you'll get the answers you're looking for, and it's for free.
Yes, yes. And I think it's never been easier than today because of all the different mediums and platforms that we have. And when we speak about brands, sometimes we think it's just in lead acquisition or in getting the clients. But how does communication and building a brand throughout client expectations or managing the client, especially in a large transaction like a real estate agent has to handle? Like how does that impact the brand?
It impacts a brand in many ways, but I always like to take a small step to absorb what it is that we're trying to accomplish and not try to do too much, like small wins or big wins, right? So how can you make progress towards your goals and thinking about, okay, if this is a brand I want to build, I'm going to build it through good relationships. I'm going to build it through clear communications about what I'm standing for and what I want to achieve. And I'm going to do this brand hygiene. Do I have a website? Do I have on my LinkedIn profile how to reach me? A lot of people overlook on links to Instagram if they want to do business through Instagram, especially if they're in real estate. There's a contact button. Put your email. Don't be afraid to put your email out there in public. What's the worst going to happen? A lot of people are going to email you. You can just archive or delete the ones you don't want to respond to. You just need to learn that you need to have a call to action for people to be able to get in touch with you. I once had somebody who has a LinkedIn profile who said, don't DM me, just email my assistant. I'm like, that's terrible. This is a personal brand is personal. Like it has to be about you, and you have to be reachable and approachable for you to build relationships with people and build your brand.
How do you think this, with all the AI and all the tools out there and people using AI, how important is it to have that strong personal touch today?
It's critical. It's critical. First of all, when you've been targeted with an AI DM or somebody sends you something that's been written by Chat GPT, like we're not stupid. We understand how the world works, especially how things are happening in the market today. So I feel like don't be fooled by AI. Use it as a tool. Use it as a resource. It's incredibly time saving. It's incredibly innovative. I'm not saying don't use it, but I'm just saying the personal touch matters. Telling a story with emotion matters. Connecting with your audience matters. Meeting people face to face matters. We can do a lot of business on Zoom. We can do a lot of things remotely, but nothing replaces that face to face connection. And all business is personal.
Yeah.
Relationships are built on trust. It's hard to build trust through a screen.
Hmm. You wrote a book,
I
right?
did.
And I want to talk about it because I have one of the things, I think one of the rules in there is like your brand is your currency. And we've been talking about that already. So
Yes.
I want to hear about what inspired you to write this book about the 7 rules of self-reliance, and talk about some of the rules that our audience can learn about and where they can get this book.
Yeah, so the book is called The 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. And the reason I wrote about self-reliance is when I look back at my career of 30 years and working with Google and Netflix and the ruler of Dubai and Gary Vee and Deepak Chopra and all these people, I had to rely on myself. I
Mm.
thought, what is the thread? It wasn't what I did, it was how I did it.
Mm.
How do you create value for other people? How do you become a lifelong learner so you continuously learning things and gaining new insights to bring value to your clients? How do you build your personal brand? How do you learn how to network? How do you become a super connector within your network so that you 1 + 1 = 11? Gary says that a lot.
Mm.
The reason I wrote this book was to teach people about self-reliance because it's about betting on yourself and investing in yourself. And these rules, I've tested them, they work. And I feel that a lot of people misunderstand self-reliance as, oh, independent, I don't need anybody, I'm self-reliant, I'm good to go. This is the exact opposite. It's teaching you how to become valuable so you become invaluable and indispensable to others. And I feel a lot of people don't trust themselves and don't have the confidence themselves, and they outsource decision making or things in their lives. And I'm like, you got this. You can do this. I did it. I don't come from business background. My family didn't have a company. I built everything from scratch, and I didn't believe I could. And I didn't believe that I was capable of doing some of the things I did until I was forced to actually back up against the wall to figure it out. And I did. And I know that other people can too.
Oh my God, that's so good. And I think the way you even explain like self-reliance, I think it's like the exact opposite. Because I would have thought, until I dove into it a little bit deeper, that it was like you don't need anybody. But like really you're the guiding force of a lot of your decisions and a lot of things that you actually could do. So what's next for you, Maya?
Well, honestly, I want this book to help people as much as possible. In each chapter of the book, there's a playbook and there's a takeaway exercises so they can put the rules to work for them. And I want to help people scale this as many people as possible. Like, I want to teach people how to be good at networking and what's the value of having relationships. Imagine if I can teach you how to build a strong and powerful network, what that would do for your business, for your brand, for yourself in the face of AI, in the face of another pandemic. You will be the powerful force that can get you through that and have your own relationships. I don't have to rely on your relationship and say, hey, Raquel, can you call in a favor for me? I have the cards in my hand, and
Mhm.
those cards are skills, experiences, and relationships. And so that's what I hope to do with this book and much more. I do a lot of master classes and workshops and training. And the more I spend time with people, the more I understand that this is something that people really want to learn. Building your personal brand and becoming a really good networker, it's just good business.
Yeah.
And whether you're an entrepreneur or you work for a company. And that's the goal of this whole thing, is to help more people communicate better.
Yeah. And what was your favorite rule out of all the seven? Do you have a
Uh,
favorite?
for actually, one of the first rule of the book is the most important and what I lead with. And the first rule of the book is to stay low and keep moving. What it means, it's a military term, like when you're on your stomach and you're crouched down and they want you to stay low and keep moving so that you don't get hit by arsenal. And I took that for a metaphor for life. Life is full of distractions. Everyone's trying to tell you can't do it or you shouldn't do it or distract you with their priorities that aren't yours. So I want people to stay low. Just put your head down, put in the work, focus relentlessly on your goals. It's not selfish. It's just really trying to fulfill your own cup, because when you fill your own cup, you can do good for other people. So stay low means don't be taken in by the distractions. Stay low profile in terms of putting in the hard work. Don't worry about getting credit for what you're doing. If you put in the hard work, the results will come. Second, keep moving. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to get fired from your job. You're going to have economic obstacles. You're going to have a financial crunch. You're going to have a problem. Everybody does. Life is messy. I face it. You face it. We all face it. But
Mhm.
what I want you to do is to keep moving. Like, you win the day, you win the next day. You didn't have a good day today, you can have a good day tomorrow, and just stay low and keep moving. And once you do that, that becomes the foundation for everything else, because we are so distracted by so many things coming at us that we don't end up doing what makes us happy. And
Mhm.
so that's what the premise of the first rule is: you got to stay low and you got to keep moving.
So good. Where can people buy your book?
Okay, you can buy the book on Amazon. It's also at any bookstores, Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, any of the booksellers. But honestly, join my community, mahaabouelenein.com. I do a Facebook group where I do free masterclasses and workshops. I'd love everyone to be a part of that. But this book is a labor of love. It's a tool book, it's a playbook, and it's something that I know will help a lot of people.
What's next for you?
What's next for me? I
What are you
do
most
a lot of,
excited about that you're
yeah.
working on?
Well, the book is the most exciting thing I'm doing right now, but I'm doing a lot of events, and I do a lot of work in Dubai. I do a lot of work in Dubai. I go to Saudi a lot. So I'm helping really help businesses and brands who want to understand the Middle East, who want to do business in the Middle East. Huge real estate market, by the way.
Mhm. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
In Dubai, and I
just
hear
understand.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's insane. And I'm Egyptian. So I love taking people to Egypt and exploring that. So that's what's next is the book, and then podcast, and really helping more people understand the ethos of self-reliance, embracing this mindset, knowing that you can do it and have the confidence to invest in yourself and bet on yourself.
Yes, yes, love it all. Where can people connect with you?
On Instagram at Maha Gabber, which is my middle name, Mahagaber, or my website, which is my first name, last name.com, mahaabouelenein.com.
And as we wrap up, there's
Yeah.
always one question and one thing that I always ask every guest that comes on the show is what does Maha do to play bigger in business or in life?
What do I do to play bigger in business or life? In life, I play tennis and I love sports. So, like, I'm a huge tennis player, tennis fan. I'm a huge sports fan. Like, I'm a geek. Like, I like to watch ESPN, follow the stats, look at the NFL league, go through all the players. What are they doing? Who's doing what? Like, I geek out on sports statistics and sports teams. Huge Minnesota Timberwolves fan. Anthony Edwards, the Wolves. I'm not a bandwagoner. I've always been a Wolves fan. So, sports is what helps my off court life, keep it happy and moving. And I have a dog. So that's that. And then how do I play bigger in business? I learn things. I challenge myself to learn something new every day, every week, every month. If I'm not learning, I'm not growing. If I'm not growing, I'm dying. So the market is abundant. I want to learn everything. I want to absorb all the things that the world has to offer. And I feel like you should too, because it's free. Learning is free. You can learn from people, podcasts, YouTube for free, people. The internet is free. Everything is free. So that's what I'm excited about. Leveling up and going bigger is just challenging myself to new things and learning things I've never done before. I've never written a book before. I've never sold a book before. I am allergic to asking people for money, but I want to sell this book and I want people to learn from it. So it's a new muscle. I'm learning all about the process of publishing. And so that's a new feather in my cap is okay, what's that process look like? I've never done any of this before in my life. And it's actually quite fun.
Well, we are so grateful you did it because I know it's going to continue to impact many lives beyond your time here from what I hear about this book. And we cannot wait. Our community cannot wait to get their hands on it, to
Yes.
support it. And I want to keep supporting you in absolutely playing bigger. Love your energy, by the way. You have so
Thank
much
you.
energy. And I know that you guys can all hear it through your speakers right now. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can't help but fall in love with this woman. So get her book. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Raquel.
Appreciate you.